Hi, this is Chris Bayaki with Resolute Philanthropy. And today I want to talk about prioritization, which is a very common concern when it comes to fundraising leadership, especially in smaller shops. Maybe you only have a single person responsible for fundraising. The question often comes, how do we prioritize fundraising? What are some of the things we can do to prioritize the work? And oftentimes, that question is being asked because the employee who is responsible for fundraising is also responsible for planning events and writing direct mail appeals and leading the Day of Giving, online Day of Giving efforts, and creating the social media information and sending out the newsletters and it's very common in the nonprofit space that when people talk about prioritization, what they're really hoping for is some kind of shortcut that will allow them to continue to do everything they're doing and not change anything but get more money. So I'm going to be Mr. Bad News today and tell you, oftentimes these conversations about prioritization also need to be conversations about what can we set down, what can we let go, what can we change. Because fundraising, effective, sustainable fundraising, takes effort. It's not necessarily, I'd say, hard work, like it's a burden, but it does take effort. Like any skill, it takes focus, it takes practice. If you are not in the habit, for example, of making donor phone calls, those first couple phone calls you make are going to be tough for you to do. You're going to find a lot of reasons why you're not going to want to do them. But it's going to be that repeated effort, that repeated work, that repeated habit that's going to get you kind of into the groove and make you feel more comfortable with this part of the job. So if you're in a leadership position in a nonprofit, and you're looking at the job description of a fundraising lead in your team, I would really encourage you to look at every single thing on that to-do list that's not fundraising related. And more specifically, I'd say, that's not revenue related. And take a really hard look at that and figure out, is there someone else on the team who can do this? Is there a volunteer who could help us with this? Are there technological answers that we can use to automate some or all of this? What are some of the options? And I say revenue specifically because there are a lot of fundraising activities and a lot of activities that you can say kind of fall under the umbrella of fundraising. Like, for example, if you have your director of development responsible for planning an event, that individual might need to take multiple meetings with caterers or event coordinators at a site. I might have to have multiple meetings about table linens or the type of appetizer that's served, or all these other things. And they may be able to say, and they may even feel, well, this was all fundraising related because it all leads into the event. I would say anything you're doing that's taking your chief fundraiser away from talking with, engaging with, and inviting donors to participate in your mission is a lost revenue opportunity. That's a tough one, right? That's a hard nut to crack sometimes, and it might be a little uncomfortable to hear that, but I really challenge you, if you're thinking about prioritization, really have that conversation about what do you want to achieve. Are you looking for the right number of tasks? Are you looking for busyness? Or are you really looking for those meaningful things that get the connections with individual donors, that get those connections with the representatives from grant-making organizations, that get those connections that lead to those opportunities that lead to that money? Because ultimately that's the job, right? The job is to bring those funds in so you can do the work you want to do. It's not a thing in and of itself. It is designed to provide that fuel for your mission. So anything you put in between your staff and the donors is getting in the way of you executing on that mission. Tough stuff, right? I wish I had a better answer. I wish I could say, oh, it's simple. Here's how you can have a part-time fundraiser raise all the money in the world. Here's how you can do all the things you need to do. And I know there might be some things you don't know how you can set down yet. And maybe there's not a quick answer, but I bet there is. especially when we start moving away from thoughts of tradition, thoughts of history, and start moving into what is really meaningful for our donors and for the people we're serving. And how do we know it's meaningful? Tough questions to ask. But your success in fundraising as a leader in a nonprofit, your success is going to depend on your ability to ask these tough questions and to see where they lead you. Now, if you want some help asking these tough questions and getting to the bottom of this and maybe finding a new way to align your staff with fundraising, I would love to help you do that. So you can respond to the message below, or you can visit me at resolutephilanthropy.com and send me a message, and let's get to work. Okay, keep up the great work. We'll talk to you soon.